Ladies and gentlemen, we are live post Dynamite talk show, post Dynamite live stream. My name's Ango. I'm with Billy TKO. Guys, we're going to talk about AEW Dynamite. You might have seen my thumbnail. Sting coming up from the rafters. This was his last Dynamite. So obviously this is worth talking about. A lot of callbacks to some WCW stuff, which I appreciate. Because a lot of people may not know this, but I was a WCW guy more than WWF. So seeing Sting, the in the middle of the night, there was like the thing with the Young Bucks going into the locker room with the bats hanging down. Mm-hmm. That was from Monday Night Nitro. And then obviously Sting coming from the rafters. So yeah, very interesting episode of AEW Dynamite. There's some things I really enjoyed, some things I really didn't enjoy at all. I'm questioning Tony Khan on this live stream. So spoiler alert, I'm going to show you guys exactly Tony Khan's lies to us fans. And I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit. But Billy, before we get started, I just want to, overall, before we break down certain segments and matches, kind of give me your overall opinion on what we saw tonight.
A lot of good, a lot of bad, very indifferent within the middle. Just the overall, if I could put it anywhere, I'd put it at like a 5 out of 10 for me personally. That'd be where I put it.
Why exactly 5 out of 10? Like what would you say is giving you that score?
Because there were some things that I really did like in the beginning. I was a really big fan of the Hangman Adam Page stuff with Swerve and Samoa Joe, but then I see on my TV that the big meaty slapping meat men match, that's no longer happening because of injuries or something like that. And then they put all three of them in a different match. So that didn't make any fucking sense.
I'm completely mind boggled by that, bro.
Yeah, I have no fucking clue what that even is.
Okay, for those who don't understand what Billy is saying, and actually I could just throw this up on the screen.
Yeah,
because I have the ability to do that on here. Mm-hmm. So you guys can see Tony Khan announced Meat Madness, which was a triple threat match between Lance Archer, Wardlow, and Powerhouse Hobbs. Jeez, I almost forgot. Today, they announced the match is not happening because of injuries. But then all of these motherfucking guys are in the same. All three of them are in this match, but now it's an AllStar 8-man scramble match. 2 participants will be revealed. Probably some surprises. I don't know. We'll see. Brother, I don't know what I'm supposed to say about this. I'm like.
Well, how are you going to announce that there's an injury?
Why'd you fucking lie to us?
Yeah, you dead ass lied.
Bro, I swear it was funny. I was watching Dynamite tonight. I was like, damn, it's pretty. Last week was good. Honestly, this year has been pretty solid, but there's like flaws, right? And the flaws sometimes you just can't ignore. And this is one of them. You're flat out just lying to me. Like, first of all, there was no purpose for the match to begin with. Okay. Now the winner of this match is going to win an opportunity for a world championship.
Rightfully so.
Cool. So who was injured? Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, or Lance Archer? Which one of them were injured? Does Tony Khan think we're fucking stupid? I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. Maybe Tony Khan does think so, but we listen, I don't get it. I genuinely didn't get it, especially because one of the things that was really funny today was Swerve, right? He had this promo where they were playing into the thing of being injured. And he's talking about how he's not going to be wrestling at Revolution.
Yes.
Ultimately, it comes out that he's actually swerving us all, and it is, in fact, a triple threat match, which was a big middle finger to Dave Meltzer, because Dave Meltzer was very clear on saying he's not actually injured. Well, first, Dave Meltzer said he was injured, right? Then Sean Ross Sapp came out and debunked that and said, no, he's actually not injured. Then Dave says, well, he's actually not injured, but we were told that he's not going to be wrestling at Revolution. And so the reason why that was so funny to me was because Swerve is not injured and he is working Revolution. Right. So Dave Meltzer got completely worked. And obviously when you see that happening, great on Hangman for swerving us.
That, like I said, I was a fan of the beginning.
Like, it's cool, right? Because like they're fucking with you, right?
Yeah.
Now Tony Khan's announcing this match, and it's like he's fucking with us, but it's not It's not the good kind.
No, dude is dead ass just looking us in our faces and being like, yeah, I told you that they were hurt. Never mind. I'm kidding.
You could have just said, hey, we made a change to the match.
Yeah, just been like, hey, we're just not doing this match. Dude, you could have been so honest with me and said, yeah, we seen the backlash. We're not going to do this. I'd have been like, all right.
Or like, hey, we want to we want to amplify it. My job as a booker of AEW is to give you guys the best matches, and we figured out something we could even do bigger and better. Like, who cares, bro? It's not this freaking over convoluted mess. And I thought it was funny. Because it's like on one hand, you had something amazing in the beginning, and then on the other hand, you're getting to this, and you're like, well, why'd you change it? What?
Yeah, like it was one of those situations where it was like you didn't have to go do all this work. Like, just, dude, all we said coming out of last week was, don't fumble Wardlow.
Yeah,
that was it, and then instantly fucks it.
I don't understand the booking of Wardlow. I don't understand any of that, but that's just my opinion. I mean, it is what it is.
Exactly.
I think right now you could see that AEW is trying to make some changes, and they're making some strides. But I think at the same time too, they're just in a hole that is pretty deep, and they're trying to get out of it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I mean, because we don't talk AEW much.
Yeah.
Not, we talk about them here and there, but we never do streams very often.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you kind of about the CM Punk situation. Do you think that may actually have hurt AEW in the long run? I'm not sure if you've talked about it before. It is something that I am wondering.
CM Punk's departure?
Yes, his departure
100%.
from the company. Yeah.
100%. Whether we want to admit it or not, CM Punk's departure did a lot to hurt AEW, because not only from like a business perspective, but they're struggling in terms of filling up their audiences and stuff. And I think they'll be able to rebound too. Of course, there's always going to be hot and cold periods, but I think CM Punk was so you got to think it's a collection of things, right? So in the beginning, when you have Cody leave, Cody's the forefront of your company. He's the face of your company. He leaves, goes to WWE. But you bring in CM Punk, who, by the way, stepped away from wrestling because he hated WWE that bad. And he comes to AEW, and people are like, oh, we got to watch this,
Yeah.
Cody and CM Punk leaving that company decimated them. The only reason why AEW is still around is because they have a very, very, very good roster. I don't think AEW creates compelling television to sustain an audience that is like long-term growth, right?
Yeah.
But they have a very stacked roster. So the cool thing for AEW, which I like this for AEW, is like when you bring in Mercedes and Okada, and today we got Osprey, like those are some key pieces. Mm-hmm. I don't think they'll ever get back to the CM Punk numbers. Maybe I'm going to eat my words. I don't think those three will get them there. However, I think those three will have a nice big lift to the product that will make it much more enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree. Because I'm one of those believers in that CM Punk leaving that company and Tony Khan coming out on that Dynamite and announcing that he had let go of CM Punk. I think that was ultimately what caused the ripple effect, the downfall for them. Strictly,
everything's a ripple effect with AEW. It's this happened at one point, and then this happened, and then because of this, and this. So, like for example, when there was drama. Backstage rumors of Andrade and Sammy getting in a fight, or with guys backstage just being unhappy with like lack of TV time or whatever. Like those are all things that are kind of just naturally an issue. And one thing too that you got to keep in mind, like I've been enjoying AEW lately.
So have I.
Yes, I have been enjoying AEW lately. I do not enjoy talking about AEW on Twitter. I think it's pointless. I'll give you guys a perfect example. But I think AEW's biggest thing, even with CM Punk being gone, I think the company continues to have an identity issue. I see them working on it, but they need to improve it a little bit more. It's going to take time.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's definitely something worth talking about. Hopefully I answered your question. I think
you did.
Punk leaving, it hurt. And the funny thing is, it's like I want to do more live reviews for AEW.
Because the show is it's not bad.
It's watchable.
Yes, 100%.
There's some really good stuff on there.
Right, exactly. There are a lot of things that I like.
And there's some really dumb stuff on there, which we'll talk about. The Ric Flair thing. Like, I thought that was ridiculous. We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get there.
But I do want to say just a couple shout outs too. We did get a couple super chats. I'll read them in a second. Humble85, Jacob Andrews, Mike, Rando, Cedric, Daniel, David Decker, so many of you guys, Rick Corrales, so many of you that come back to these streams. I just want to say shout out to you guys. Appreciate it. We'll be reading some stuff from the chat, but we did get a super chat really quick. I am not Avery 499 says Wardlow is probably not 100% cleared with his knee from a few weeks ago, hence the addition of more to hide his injury. Wardlow and United Kingdom is still ass. Is it United Kingdom or Undisputed Kingdom? I always say United.
Dude, listen, I had this problem last week. I covered AEW. I said, I don't know. It's Undisputed fucking something.
Bro, it's I'm not interested in Undisputed Kingdom. I liked it from the beginning, and now I'm just starting to hate on it. But I'll tell you guys why in a little bit. It really goes along with just my preferential booking, which we'll get to, because there was something that happened tonight where as soon as it happened, it's the single deciding factor in me paying for AEW Revolution this weekend. There's one thing that happened tonight where it's like, I'm buying this pay-per-view, no arguing.
Really?
But it has nothing to do with the Undisputed Kingdom. I'll say that.
Okay.
He might not be 100% cleared. I don't like that answer, unfortunately, Avery, because with Tony Khan, he announced that injuries are the reason why this match is not happening.
Right.
Then to announce that all three of them are in the match, to me, I just don't slide with that. I don't like that. I think that's some bullshit.
I know I shouldn't be laughing, dude, but it really is so funny, because that is something that actually happened. Like, he announced that there was injuries and then put all three of them back into the match.
Like, it's just dumb. I don't know. I guess my big thing is like when I talk about wrestling, Billy, I'm like, I just don't want to be insulted for my intelligence.
Oh, dude, I think that's a real life thing. Don't insult my intelligence. Please.
Yeah.
Please.
But at least
we complained
wrestling
about this years ago with WWE.
Yeah.
Brother man, come on.
I know.
Is Tony the big bad guy?
It's crazy. It's crazy. But
we praised him years ago.
This is the stuff where I'm like, wait, Tony Khan really did that?
Yeah.
Really?
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Is Tony back there booking this shit?
Hey. Yeah, I don't know. Wardlow, thank you for the super chat. Yo, that's crazy. Avery, thank you for the super chat. You dropped another one for $1.99. 100% Punk leaving hurt them. He was never wrong. Yeah, I think this is going to be the overwhelming consensus for most fans. I mean, look, you could tell AEW, even while Punk was there, was struggling a little bit for me, like from a creative aspect. But with Punk there, there was... You could tell there was a lot of good stuff, even towards the end when Collision was a thing. Like, the first few episodes of Collision was a banger.
Yeah, dude, that first episode of Collision was like, yo, this is all right. We're on the right pace here.
Yeah, it's just without Punk, I mean, it's noticeable. But it was noticeable. I told you. I remember telling you. I texted you the day that Cody left. I said that the company is not the same. And
it was never going to be. Yeah,
it was never going to be the same. It'll never get back to that point. They can say, restore the feeling. That seems to be like a catchphrase that they're using these days on social media and stuff.
Yeah,
that feeling will never come back. So
ever.
You can't go back to that feeling when you have LED ring aprons, LED barricades, all LED screens.
You took away the heart.
In the arena.
You took away the heart.
They're not the alternative in terms of what like that was. Like there's a clear transition from creative presentation and everything like that.
At this point, it's just go on and try and tell good stories. Because another thing is the ranking system.
We'll get to that too.
Yeah, okay.
I have a huge gripe with the ranking system.
So
and it's the one thing I asked for back. And I was like, man, if they brought back the ranking system and actually utilized it correctly, fucking game over. Like that for me is what like I want AEW to be. They're not, and people will defend it till they're blue in the face, but the ranking system sucks. Yeah. And it's over for me to care about the ranking system. Like I don't care if they book around the ranking system or not.
I don't care about at this point, I don't care about you showing how many matches they won. It's out the window.
Yeah, it's not. Avery dropped another one, says I'm not Wardlow. Sorry, bud. Yeah, you might be, bro. You never know. These wrestlers be popping in like they got burner phones and burner accounts and burner Twitter accounts. I know Kevin Durant, he got caught with a burner account on Twitter.
Did he?
Yeah, that's the funniest shit. They all do, bro. All these celebrities be doing it. So you never know. Hey, I am not Wardlow is his name now.
Yeah, I am not Wardlow.
That's what I'm gonna call you. Avery, thank you for all those super chats. Appreciate it, brother. Billy, let me get your take on this, okay?
Okay, bring it up.
Because we talked about the ranking system. I see that Orange Cassidy tonight has an open challenge international championship match against
Nick Wayne.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nick Wayne gets an open challenge opportunity. He wins, he gets the belt, he loses. Okay, cool. Match was great. Love the match. Fun match. You guys know me. I expect good matches from AEW. I'm also a big Nick Wayne fan. I met him, GCW in Detroit. Great kid. I think he's awesome. He's going to be great. People forget he's only 18. He has a great match. A little bit overbooked, with the patriarchy on the ring side and the Undisputed Kingdom on the ring side and whatever. But Orange Cassidy retains. What is the point? Because AEW does this. And if Tony Khan was watching this, I know Tony Khan deep down in his conscience knows I'm absolutely right about this. Tony Khan and his writers, his team, Will Washington and Jen Pepperman and this person and that person and Daniel Bryan, Brian Danielson, whatever. All these people that are there together, right? Mm-hmm. Jerry Lynn, whoever is sitting there in that room coming up with plans. Somebody's mind at some point has clicked and says, we don't have to worry about the rankings when it's an open challenge. And this way we can get Orange Cassidy on the show for the go-home show to sell the match going into the pay-per-view, which we can do with, obviously, it's Roderick Strong. And then this way we'll get the patriarchy and we'll get Daniel Garcia involved. And forget about the rankings, though, because we're all going to be able to do this because it's an open challenge, right?
Yep.
Clearly, that registered in somebody's mind. Now, it's a shame they had to do an open challenge, right? Because it's meaningless.
It is.
But it's funny because AEW did a 6-man tag match tonight with FTR, Eddie Kingston versus BCC, which going into Revolution, what's the match? Eddie Kingston defending his Continental Crown Championship against Bryan Danielson.
Yep.
So they want to sell the match going into Revolution. Eddie Kingston lost against Bryan Danielson.
Yep.
Wow. They did a 6-man tag. You're telling me they couldn't do Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends, which, by the way, they came out to fight ringside against Undisputed Kingdom. You couldn't just do a 3-on-3 match to get everything going?
Sell the fight.
But now you're disrespecting your ranking system by just simply putting open challenge. To me, that's a huge issue that I have. Why? Because it's like not logical.
So you'd say that's your gripe then?
100% it's my gripe. What the fuck's the point of the ranking system when you're just like, oh, we're just going to do an open challenge instead? And the only reason why they did an open challenge was so they could push all of these stories going into Revolution. But here's the thing. Storytelling is one thing, but how you push stories is another. You got to do it in a way that is logical. And when you do an open challenge, I guess an open challenge is logical, but that tells me the ranking system isn't the forefront of your product. To me, it's just an element to your product. And I don't think that should be the way it works. I don't.
No.
That's a fundamental issue I will disagree with.
No, I agree. It's hard to disagree with something like that because when you hear it and you put it like that, you're absolutely right. At the end of the day, you're disrespecting this. And when you're disrespecting, the one thing that I was excited for, because I, as a fan watching, was ready for this ranking system to come back and to have meaning. Because truth be told, for me, I had accepted that AEW may not be that alternative that they once were.
Yeah.
But I wanted that sports feel because that Continental Classic, amazing. Yeah. And it felt like it mattered. And I was like, dude, what if they because everybody on the show, they're all great professional wrestlers.
Yeah.
They may not be the best sports entertainers, but dude, a lot of them can wrestle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we can bring back this ranking system, I believe it was a Dynamite stream that you and I did where we talked about Parker Boudreaux.
Yeah.
When I seen that come back, I'm like, oh, this is good. This is good. We're going to rid of that. No, we're not. It's the same fucking thing.
They do a lot of excuses in their programming to justify what they're doing. And the thing is, it's funny because, like I said, I enjoyed the show tonight. Like, I didn't have, I'm micro-analyzing, but that's the point of what I do. I micro-analyze things. Right. And, if I'm going to call out the flaws in storytelling in WWE or AEW, I'm going to do it consistently.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of those things where I'm like, wow, it's cool because they use this entire match, right, to push storytelling. So for me, I was following along like easily. I'm like Undisputed Kingdom. Oh,
Yep.
Daniel Garcia, like
Yeah.
all of these different things, right? And I'm like, you see the best friends, and I'm like, okay, cool. Why couldn't this just be a 6-man tag match, trios match? Especially when they were doing the same exact thing with Eddie Kingston and Danielson. And actually, what was really funny too, not to completely skip out on it, but Eddie Kingston, he passed out because of Bryan Danielson, and I was like, oh wow, like they're having the champion lose on Dynamite. Probably more than likely, he's going to beat Bryan Danielson at Revolution, which would be freaking awesome. So I didn't mind it. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it was a 6-man tag match or whatever. It's cool.
Yep.
But you have Orange Cassidy beating Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne could afford the loss, but you have the patriarchy there, which obviously is why Daniel Garcia comes out.
Yep.
You have Undisputed Kingdom there. It's overbooked. I don't mind the overbooking. Some people will complain about that. I'm not complaining about it being overbooked. What I'm complaining about is you did an open challenge instead of looking at your ranking system. And instead of having to use an open challenge, what you could have just simply done was do a trios tag match instead.
There is so many routes that AEW can go.
Here's the cool thing. They don't have to think twice about it, Billy. That's the solution. One solution. Hey, you want to prolong all these stories? Cool. Do a trios match.
Right. You don't have to overthink this, and you don't have to overbook it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's happening here.
Yeah.
It is.
Overall, though, I thought the match was fun. I like Nick Wayne. I thought it was cool. I like the idea of, with Undisputed Kingdom, it's kind of cool enough for me, to be honest with you. And I think Adam Cole not being able to wrestle is at the forefront of that issue and that concern. But my real gripe with AEW, this kills me. I told you, I said there's one thing that happened tonight that made me really like, okay, I'm for sure buying the pay-per-view.
Yeah, what is it?
It's gonna shock people, but me, it's Will Osprey versus Konosuke Takeshita.
Yeah. Yep. So
for those who don't know what I'm talking about, Konosuke Takeshita, basically this is how the whole storyline segment goes. Will Osprey comes out, does an interview with Tony Schiavone, bruv this, bruv that. Just great promo interview. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed what they were doing right there with Will Osprey, Tony Schiavone. Will Osprey's now all elite. He is going to be competing against Konosuke Takeshita at Revolution. It's a throw together match that they're throwing together, obviously, for the pay-per-view. And Don Callis comes out with Powerhouse Hobbs and Konosuke Takeshita. The Don Callis family. You got to remember, some people didn't remember this, but Will Ospreay's part of the faction. And as soon as Don Callis comes out and you look at Will Ospreay with them, this segment was actually really dope. It was like extremely dope to me because it did two things. It furthered this potential and what I think will be a Will Ospreay babyface run.
Yep.
But it also did something for me, which was take Konosuke Takeshita a little bit more serious, because Powerhouse Hobbs and Don Callis dap him up. They hug him, right? Konosuke Takeshita, he didn't necessarily have that warm feeling like, oh, we're so happy that you're here. And look, this is kind of an issue because he obviously wasn't full-time with AEW, but now that he is, like, this could be the start. This is a match that could start something incredibly well. I think after Revolution, we're going to see Will Ospreay completely become babyface, leave the group, and I think it's going to be a star-making performance for him, but also for Konosuke. So, to me personally, as soon as I saw this segment, I was like, a lot of people may not realize how much of a huge fan I am with Konosuke. And I'm also a huge fan of Will Ospreay. And I've been saying, there's a lot of fans in the IWC who say he's not going to be, he wouldn't be good in WWE. And I'm just like, yeah, you're basically saying Will Ospreay sucks and couldn't adapt. Because he could adapt to anything. He's a G. He's a stud. But I like the idea of him versus Konosuke Takeshita at Revolution. And this is one of those matches with not a big story, but in one night, they basically told me, hey, there's going to be more coming to this story. So if you watch Revolution, a new story will begin. That's my impression. So therefore, this is the match that is actually selling me Revolution. Obviously, Sting, Ric Flair, Young Bucks, that whole thing with Darby as well. But I did want to point this out. My big gripe with AEW, and I don't care who this offends, I see Christian Cage holding the TNT Championship. We saw the TNT Championship become a hot potato. It's a toy. Orange Cassidy, a hell of an international championship, but they had a little bit of that stink when Ray Phoenix and Moxley and that whole thing was going down. But I like Orange Cassidy as well. I think at some point, and I'm looking at Tony Khan and I'm just trying to figure out why the hell is Konosuke Takeshita not holding the international championship? Why is he not the international champion? Why is he not taking that belt to DDT? Why is he not taking that belt with him? Why is it? Because here's the thing, too, that you got to remember. In this group, Will Osprey, if he goes the babyface route, like, look how cool it is. Will Osprey is getting the cheers. Don Callis starts talking. Everybody hates it.
Yeah, love it.
Beautiful. Perfect. Revolution. Will Osprey turns babyface. It's amazing. How much better would this feud be if Konosuke Takeshita was holding the international championship and then Will Osprey took it from him at another pay-per-view?
Dude, it would be outstanding, right? Because so call me crazy, but in between Will Osprey and Takeshita, I see Kenny Omega. I'm not sure if I'm crazy for that, but Takeshita beat him, Osprey beat him, right? I feel like this is your next feud. This is going to be a big ongoing feud.
Yeah, he's going to go through the ladder.
Exactly. And I think, okay, so Will Osprey being in AEW, I want to say is huge for the company and should be treated as such. I know some people may not be fans of him, and if you're not, I believe you're absolutely fucking insane.
Yeah.
But I look at where AEW is right now, and I look at Will Osprey as one of the guys who really can elevate the company. Again, maybe not to the furthest of heights, but I feel like he's going to be a moving piece going forward to where stories need to be booked around him. Shows should be centered around him. Same with Okada. Same with Mercedes Moné.
Yeah.
All of those things need to happen here. I agree with you 100% that it is, in fact, 100% the reason why I will buy Revolution, because I'm a Will Osprey fan at the end of the day. I'm going to be honest here. I'm a big fan of him and his work. I think he's exciting, exhilarating, the whole nine, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, no, I see Kenny Omega somewhere in the middle of this. I don't know where and I don't know how, but somewhere down the line, I see him in here.
It's hard for me to fantasy book anything with Omega because he's going through the diverticulitis thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Obviously, I'm huge fan of Omega. Huge fan of all these guys, and that's why I think Billy, like for me as a fan of these guys, and I'm going to say it. The pressure's on AEW. Tony
100%.
Khan has right now. Like it doesn't matter how much you love AEW. It doesn't matter how biased you are or whatever. Like anybody who has this biasness towards AEW, just understand like. Tony Khan is going to be under a lot of pressure to make sure that he gets it right completely with Okada, completely right with Will Osprey, and completely right with Mercedes Moné.
Because these are three people that you cannot fuck up.
Well, here you can't fuck up with any of them, but here's the reality, right? And I know people are saying it in the chat. They were saying it on Twitter too. Look what they're doing with Jay White.
Yeah.
And I went viral on Twitter.
Yeah.
Talking about Jay White being in WWE prior to going to AEW, and I got burned. I got a lot of people talking shit. I had a lot of people who were really upset that I said Jay White would be treated better in WWE. And here we are. I think it's been over a year now at this point. And Jay White is doing bullshit on TV.
He did the one match with MJF.
He's doing bullshit on TV.
He's doing backstage segments like WWE would have booked it many years ago.
He's literally just doing bullshit in this company. So yeah. I'm sorry. As a fan of Will Osprey and Okada and Moné, I pray that all three of them have something exciting going on. I understand not everybody could be a world champion, but I'm looking at Roderick Strong potentially becoming international champion at Revolution with Orange Cassidy. And I'm thinking That's a strong, like, you view that as a strong storyline for your company. I'm sorry, but it's falling flat for me.
Dude, a lot of this
and that's Billy,
flat.
that's coming from a guy who's like, hey, I kind of fuck with this Undisputed Kingdom thing, but it's falling flat for me.
So I told you, I think it's just a revamped version of whatever the fuck they were doing in WWE, and I stand by it. I am not a fan of it. I'm not. I think as soon as now, do I have hope for it? And hopefully you could hear me out on this. I have hope for it when MJF comes back? Absolutely, but that's my problem with this, is that this faction was strictly built off the idea of MJF, and now he's gone.
brother. When MJF comes back, if they even think about putting him in the mix with that shit, they need to drop it.
They have to.
They have to drop it. They gotta let it go because
they have to put MJF in the mix of it. It was built for him. For him to come through.
Let him kill it.
He has to. He has to come back and kill it.
Have MJF stay off of TV for a year, because when MJF was world champion, the booking was incredibly bad. Right now, we have a very incredible championship storyline going into Revolution with Samoa Joe, Swerve, and Hangman. And I'm sorry, but that is better than what they were cooking with MJF.
Which sucks, because MJF was going to be one of the greatest champions in AEW. He was supposed to be.
I still think part of that is true, but I think right now the booking and the TV has been better. And hey, I'm just being honest. I think it's like they have a really
around it.
They have a really good world champion right now, but really good booking surrounding it. I don't think that Samoa Joe leaves Revolution as champion.
No, I think Swerve does.
I think Swerve does too.
I think he's hot. You need to put it on him.
And I don't like transitional champions in pro wrestling, but I've said this during my wrestling with my Raw streams. With like the world heavyweight champion, whoever wins it next needs to kind of be a transitional champion. It needs to be a short reign.
Yeah, we need to have fun with these belts a little bit.
And that's one thing. It's difficult for AEW, and it goes back to what I was saying about the pressure that Tony Khan has. Jay White is not being booked well, so you bring in Osprey and you bring in Okada and all these people. Not everybody could be a world champion, but what can you do with them that makes them feel important? That's why I like the Will Ospreay versus Don Callis family thing, because that's just going to set him apart as a big baby face and then let him go forward. Yeah. But imagine how much better it would have been if the international championship was on the line. I don't know. It's just it's funny, because if you go that route, then you got to look at the ranking system. That's part of it. But unfortunately, the ranking system, when you truly look at it, it's like, does it really fucking matters?
Nope, it's not getting healed.
It's the weirdest thing. Weirdest thing. And also too, I think one big part, I know Jason Martinez just mentioned this in the chat too, but if you look at all these free agent signings that are massive, they're all supposed to be game changers. They're all supposed to be big names, and they're all supposed to be.
That's always been the gripe with AEW in general.
And so here's the problem. Like, you have Miro. He was the flavor of the week at one point, and now he's not on there. So it becomes a little like, now it's like, do I even want Miro to win the championship now that Okada's in the company?
Yeah, I mean, you have all these big stars and nothing to do with them.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
I look at a guy, and call me crazy, but even Edge, Adam Copeland.
I said this. I told you before, though. I told you. He doesn't have the name Edge. Nobody cares. Adam Copeland is not, you could.
Yeah, it's not a
gimmick, whatever, but.
Yeah.
Really strange. I am not Avery dropped a super chat. Jay White could have been the one to defeat Gunther at Mania. I fantasy booked that before too, brother.
Would have been a great fucking match, I'll tell you that.
Gunther versus Jay White, and a lot of people, the tribalist. Trust me, I got a list of them on Twitter. I'm like, I love it. I love when they tweet. I'm like, bookmark.
Here they are.
Well, the thing about the whole thing was, if Jay White would have been Intercontinental Champion in WWE, it would have looked at terrible booking.
Yeah,
but holding the ROH tag team trios belts, whatever. In ROH, but on AEW TV, whatever, being Bang Bang Scissor Gang, like, this shit's corny, it's whack, it's not fun to watch. It has its moments here and there, but like, all of these guys are better than that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some things where I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying, but it's not cool all the time. It doesn't hit the same every single time. It doesn't need to be a long drawn thing. But that's what they got Jay White doing. And then at the end of the day, Jay White was the flavor of the week at one point, just like Miro was. But now you're bringing in other people that are really, really talented.
And they're about to become the flavor of the week.
and hopefully those people could remain the flavor of the year. You know what I mean? So, it bothers me because I do agree that some of these guys would be better off in WWE. And I'm not saying that as an anti AEW thing, because people, and this is the problem with like wrestling fans in general, but I'm criticizing things, but I also said like this was a fairly enjoyable episode. But I'm just looking at the grand scheme of things, and there's things you won't get me to change my mind. It's not going to happen.
I do want to say, like, we are coming on here, and it does sound like we're being super fucking harsh, but I personally was a fan of the show too. I do want to say, like, it's not so much a harsh thing. It's more or the less like, no, we're just taking the little small points and making them bigger, because in aspects, right? As analyzers, right? People who analyze these shows, that those things need to be brought up and brought to attention, because at the end of the day, you want to see a great show. You don't want to see a good show.
I tell you right now, with full ego, big brain, I'm telling you, with my head being blown up and gassing myself up, I'm telling you right now, some of these things that I'm saying, I know genuinely are logically applicable to AEW
and can easily be done,
easily be fixable. These are just things that I think would change the product and get a better reception. And you know what's so funny is like the Acclaimed in the Bang Bang Scissor Gang thing. Like, it's funny, and they got their cool moment. And I actually like the reason why they came together, and it's like logical, and it was pretty good storytelling. But like, to me, when I look at Jay White and I look at these guys, I think of the Acclaimed as like the funny group, and Bullet Club Gold is like the serious group. Why not use the Bullet Club Gold as a way to make the Acclaimed more serious?
Yes, right.
But instead, it's kind of becoming like a comedy thing.
It's becoming the opposite. The Acclaimed are making them more goofy.
Yes, and I'm like, well, I think they should actually make the Acclaimed a little bit harder, make them more, G'd up,
gritty.
Like, I'm just saying, like, again, people might not agree with this, but that's the way I see it. So, especially when you have the logic there as to why they're coming together and why they're having some fun moments, and it's like kind of cool, but then you start to cool off. That's how I realized, like, hey, they should have made the Acclaimed a little bit tougher, not this whole comedy thing. And that's just kind of the way I see it. Avery, thank you for the super chat again. We did get one from Empty Earhart for $1.99. It doesn't look like there's a comment associated with it.
It was empty, huh?
It was empty. I see what you just did there. Empty, appreciate the $1.99. Appreciate you. Andre Benson dropping $2. The Bang Bang Scissor Gang. What is up with that? Hey, I think the name is funny. It was funny. I will say I did get a little chuckle when Jay White did say he's like, everybody loves the Acclaim with the Bang Bang Scissor Gang or whatever it was.
Yeah, that is funny.
He kind of did like the everybody loves the Acclaim thing. But no, it's I don't know. It's just it has its flaws. I'm pointing them out. There's ways to go about it better.
I have one more gripe.
What is that?
I was listening to Excalibur talk.
Yeah.
And he was announcing all these matches.
Yeah.
He's talking Rampage, Dynamite, Collision, Revolution. And dude, at some point his breath gave out.
Yeah.
And he just got tired. It was like,
I don't mind that.
Bro, I thought it was hilarious because he announced like 72 matches in like 20 seconds. I was like, oh man, this guy's going right now.
Yeah, I think Excalibur is one of my favorite.
Oh, he's great. I'm not saying anything about that. He is great. I just found it funny because that's the thing with AEW is there's so many matches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So many different shows to get across.
Revolution's going to be another long-ass pay-per-view. It's happening on Saturday.
That shit is pissing me off.
But you know what I do want to talk about? Sting.
The man.
Okay, there's two things I really want to talk about. Sting, and then I do want to talk about Chris Jericho because I got some praise over there. But we got to talk about Sting because it's important that we talk about Sting. Billy, Sting coming from the rafters. Awesome. Very unexpected. Very cool. Darby Allin coming from the crowd with the Sting mask. Homage to TNA Sting when Sting was wearing a Sting mask, which was so funny back in the day.
Yeah.
The Young Bucks, they're EVPs. They've been really funny throughout the night. They're looking for Sting and Darby. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. These guys are killing it with their character work, showcasing to everybody that they're more than just flippy guys, right?
Yep.
Love it. The only thing I fucking hated so much about this segment, Billy, and I know you know what I'm about to talk about. Ric Flair comes out to the Young Bucks as they're beating up Darby Allin. Ric Flair gets hit with the low blow. I don't know what the hell they're thinking about Ric Flair coming out there, but I will say, I'm sorry. It's not for me. It's not for me. I get it. People all like I don't, it sucks. It sucks. Like, this is Sting's final Dynamite, and I get it. You're putting Ric Flair in there or whatever, but like, you don't have to have him try to get involved like on a physical capacity. And I'm not a fan of Ric Flair. I'm not a Ric Flair hater. I'm just not a fan of him. And ultimately, I felt like that kind of made this cool ass segment kind of comedic in a way. Which I don't know if that's necessarily the word I'm looking for, but I started to like laugh a little bit instead of looking at this. Yeah, because I really love what they're doing with the Young Bucks and their character work in Darby. And then when you have the Young Bucks, they're attacking Ric Flair, whatever. Young Bucks go up the stage and they're waiting for Sting because they hear the music, and then Sting comes from the rafters. Like, all of this was so cool, but Ric Flair like kind of ruined it for me, man. And I'm trying to say this respectfully, because at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I did not like that one piece to the segment. Like, that to me was like, why did you do that?
So listen, that low blow, did you see how it looked?
Yeah,
dude, it just looked bad. Like, it just and they were trying to do the right thing by just protecting Ric Flair, you know what I mean, and making sure that they did everything at all costs to make sure he was okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you did not have to do that. I didn't need to see it, because I'll be honest, I don't care. Sting coming down from the rafters, that's what I wanted to see.
I popped big for that.
So did I. I popped huge. That shit's cool to me. I understand the nostalgia factor, but this is another gripe, right? Where AEW, they prey on this like nostalgia factor with some of these wrestlers. It's like, listen, I understand. There are some people that still watch that and probably will be upset if they don't get their nostalgia fix.
Yeah.
Right? But majority of your audience, right? Majority of that hardcore fan base, I'm here to tell you, is not going to be upset with you for not hitting that nostalgia point, especially if you do something with the rafters. That's hitting a nostalgia point.
Oh, I mean, I will always praise AEW, the way that they do the nostalgia, the callbacks to WCW or anything like that. Like, I like that stuff in wrestling. I personally, again, because I was a WCW guy, right? Seeing that kind of go down, the rafters thing is one thing. Seeing the bats in the room was another thing. Because I remember Sting's final Nitro. You see those things. You see the callback to the TNA stuff with Sting. Like, they get it right. And I'm curious to hear what you think, but I don't know if I said this last week or whenever I said it. Maybe it was in one of my videos. Not the first time I said this, but I think Sting being booked by AEW is probably the best run Sting's ever had.
Yeah.
The most fun I've enjoyed watching, because, and I'm a huge fan of the Sting in TNA, 1000%. But when you look at Sting, especially when you factor in age and like tail end of his career, going to WWE, and I didn't even hate his WWE run at all, to be honest. Like, I liked it for what it was, because it's what I expected from an older gentleman, right? But Sting came to AEW, and it's like, this fucking guy went off, and he had great banging matches. Booking was always solid. He never took away from anybody or like buried anybody. And on top of that, the entire time he's been alongside Darby Allin, which is like a beautiful
Darby.
100%. It added legitimacy to Darby Allin.
Absolutely. Instantly.
I thought this was the best booked. I think Sting has actually been consistently the best booked performer in AEW. But I'm curious, watching back TNA and like obviously WCW and WWE and seeing Sting, like, where do you stand with Sting's booking of AEW? Do you think Tony Khan did it right with him? What are your thoughts?
I think Darby Allin, I think I seen an interview from him last week where he said it best. Obviously, if people watched WWE in like 2015, they would know like the Night of Champions thing with Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
And when Sting like just collapsed in the middle of the match.
Yeah.
Sting being able to come to AEW and retire on his own terms, no matter the age, because Sting has proven that age is just a fiction within pro wrestling right now. Because I believe that this, 100% is the best run that I think. I mean, unless, obviously WCW was, that was his home, but he came to AEW and I just felt like it fit him. There was something about AEW that just fit.
From the start.
From the start, exactly. Yeah. From Tony Schiavone making the call, to all the way down to, the Young Bucks tonight. And then, we talk about Darby Allin and how much he helped Darby. And again, not taking away from any of these talent and just helping in every way, shape, and form. I think it was that match with, I forget, Brian Cage. It was a very cinematic match. It was during COVID, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That like set the tone for me with Sting.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't even got to put him in the ring. Let him do this shit.
So I will tell you too, just one thing that I like cinematic matches. I know not everybody else does.
Yeah.
But I always looked at Undertaker and Sting unfairly. This is kind of unfair, but both of them being like up there in age, and they were always more of like the character based driven stuff. Anyways, I was like, man, like if they did every match cinematic,
dude, they'd be
I'm
good.
all for it. Yeah. But then I forgot when it was, but it was like the first time when Sting jumped off the freaking, like he was in the crowd and he jumped off the top and to the tables and shit. I was like, okay, I don't mind watching this either. But he was such a good wrestler, especially at this age, and I hate to bring up the age thing, but we can't sit here and act like, there's guys who are younger than him who don't wrestle as well as him. So you got to factor that in.
Yeah, no, he's in his 60s. And just seeing this guy go, it's like, dude, like, are you really hanging it up? I mean, I know he is, but
what if they swerve us? That'd be crazy. I don't think they would be that dumb.
No, I don't be that dumb. Don't do all this and be that dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that.
This is definitely not a prediction live stream, and maybe we should do a prediction live stream.
Probably.
But for our viewers that are here, which by the way, if you guys haven't clicked that thumbs up button, you probably should.
Yeah, do that.
But early prediction, I'm not asking you to think long on it.
Okay.
But do you think Sting and Darby drop the belts?
No, I don't.
I'm curious with how they go about it. I don't know. I want to think about it. I did read a theory earlier, which I thought was funny. Somebody was saying like Sting and Darby win, they vacate the belts, and then the young. But here's the thing, and then the Young Bucks pick up the belts and they declare themselves as tag team champions because they're the EVPs. Which obviously would get them heel heat.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that theory, but I thought it was funny because I'm like, honestly, it could potentially work because of their characters, but they would obviously piss off a lot of people, and it might not be the right kind of heat. But I wouldn't want that to happen after the match. Like that would have to happen at like Dynamite or something,
Yeah,
let them have the visual of Sting and Darby hold the belts,
That's my whole thing. That's why I think Sting will walk out as a champion. I think if you're in all respect, you think about his respected history and all of that. I mean, that's just one guy that like, all right, dude, like your tag division, you should be aware it's not the best that it's ever been. Right?
Yeah.
This is your opportunity to fix it. Just vacate the belts.
So I heard a little rumbling. I'm going to throw this out there. I don't know if I don't know if I would expect this. I don't know. I'm not saying this should be expected. I'm not saying this would be 100% confirmed, but there was a little rumbling that I've heard. That perhaps AEW is ready to unveil new tag team championship belt designs.
Okay.
And so it would make sense that Sting and Darby retain the belts and they get the visual of that. It's always going to be known as Sting and Darby, who were the last tag champs. And then they will start off a new era with the tag team division with Private Party and all these other guys.
Let them go. That's fine.
I'm bringing that up because, again, I don't know if it's 100% confirmed. I didn't, But it was a rumbling that I've heard, which I think could make a lot of sense. Would be kind of cool.
It would be. Some new titles in AEW may not hurt. I'm not saying new titles along the lines of new titles. I'm saying just like revamped
redesigns inside. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I always think wrestling companies should refresh them anyways.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. Do it.
Yeah.
You got the money. Do it.
Yeah. Overall, I loved pretty much everything about this except for Ric Flair. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Ric Flair is really just the killer. That poor, that old. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say it. He's just, Yeah.
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 You know what else I liked?
What's that?
I like. We didn't talk about Chris Jericho, which I said I want to talk about Chris Jericho.
Yeah, we can.
Chris Jericho versus Atlantis Jr. from CMLL. There's been a lot of controversy. I had a tweet get 200,000 views because I said I agree with Ice Cube's son. Which Ice Cube's son, O'Shea Jackson Jr. He came out on Chris Van Fleet's thing, and he was basically just stating, "Hey, if I don't know what something is happening on TV, and when I tweet about it, I don't want people to ask me or to tell me I'm not a real wrestling fan," which I thought was absolutely a good point.
Yeah,
because I've seen it. Now, I watch CMLL and AAA and New Japan and DDT Pro and Deadlock and GCW and MLW and AEW and WWE and this and that. And I watch 100 wrestling promotions. I don't keep up with every single one every single week unless it's part of my job, which my job primarily is WWE, AEW, TNA. But it was funny because when O'Shea Jackson, when he came out with this, when this clip went viral, I posted a tweet and I was like, I agree. I think every match really, pretty much what I'm saying is I think everybody should have video packages, and largely for two reasons. One, AEW video packages made me fall in love with video packages, and they made me feel like they're necessary. So we can go one day if you guys want. My viewers, listen, we can go on my YouTube channel. We could go live and we can go and search for the clip 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago, whenever it was, when I said, and I know I have it, but it was a clip of me talking about AEW's video packages, and they were like cinematic. Yeah. And it was that it was that Warner Bros. Like feel, Yep. And I remember I would sit there and I'd be like, man, if WWE and AEW could do more stuff like this would be amazing, right? So when O'Shea was talking about this, I'm like, yeah, the I call them bot accounts because I just can't imagine them actually being real humans with souls. But I see these accounts pop off on Twitter, and they're going crazy with like they're sending death threats and shit. But I put out my tweet, it gets like 200,000 views, and I'm just basically saying like even I know who these people are, but I do think it is beneficial for them to do video packages. One, they're cool, and honestly, two, it helps people understand. Not everybody is going to. I understand people could go fucking Google it because people aren't dumb. It takes 30 seconds to Google it. But what's actually a lot better than Googling it and just reading a bunch of words is when you as a company make really dope video packages and put it on the screen. So I actually have an emotional attachment to it. So I'm not a big fan of Chris Jericho in 2024, and I obviously know a little bit about CMLL because I watch CML a little bit here and there. But it was funny because what did they do? It took 60 seconds. Chris Jericho backstage with Renee, and they show footage from Chris Jericho and CMLL against Atlantis Sr.
His father, yeah.
So you see that Chris Jericho says, I specifically requested this match, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. That's all they had to do. And they were showing the old footage, and it's like really dope. Nice explanation. By the way, it took 60 seconds. Now, why am I satisfied about this, Billy? It took 60 seconds. Now, all those bot-ass accounts were saying, no, they don't need to do this. This isn't WWE. There's no point to that.
When there is 1,000% a point.
Took 60 seconds.
Got them right over.
And it was like, hey, there you go. For somebody who didn't understand why this is happening, you just took 60 seconds to show somebody. And the best part about it, too, is, like, I'm not even really that big of a fan of a Chris Jericho in 2024.
Nope.
But it's dope when you have this and you're showing the old footage and you're kind of telling me the reason why I should care about this. That's it. I'm entertained by it. And, I didn't really care for the finish of the match with the towel or whatever, but It is what it is. I get it. You've got a partnership. You're trying to protect both and whatever.
Yeah, and trying to put over, I guess, CMLL.
But like at the same time too, it's like it doesn't hurt. I don't know why people would be like, no, don't do a video package. That makes us look like WWE. When the whole time you got fucking LED barricades and ring
right.
apron.
Yeah. I mean that shit. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you, and I'll ask everybody. Actually, I'll leave this for everybody. As a wrestling fan, which I believe I am, I spend money at these shows when I go to them. I buy merchandise. I buy the concessions. I do all of that. Let me ask, because I don't know anybody from CMLL, or I'm not the biggest watcher of New Japan Pro Wrestling, or DDT, or Stardom, or whatever the case is, does that make me less of a wrestling fan?
No, that just makes you a fan of the Fed.
So, like, that ass, dude. I mean, it's real, though. Like, at the end of the day, O'Shea is right. Just give me an example. Show me something. Atlantis, which I told you beforehand off stream. I said, I have no fucking idea who this is.
But they gave you a little bit of context.
But they gave me the context, and guess what? That's all I needed.
You know what's actually really funny about it?
Mm-hmm.
For every person here, your question kind of answers in itself, right? Because whether people want to admit it or not, O'Shea, myself, whoever else is speaking about, I think JD has talked about it. I've seen a lot of people talk about this.
I can imagine a lot of people have.
A lot of people have said this, right?
Yeah.
But it was really funny to me because I'm like, all these people who are saying O'Shea is wrong, Tony Khan basically just said, go fuck yourself because here's a video package. We agree. Cool.
Thank you. That's
not knowing wrestlers, by the way, it's actually, I think it's a cool thing about wrestling.
It is. It makes it fun.
I don't know. I can't tell you what my train of thought was when I was 14 years old watching TNA, but I know for a fact when there was guys from AAA coming into TNA, I was really impressed by just seeing people I didn't know, because it added something special to the show. So here's the thing. Now that I'm older and I want to have a better understanding, then you bring a new wrestler in. Now I watch CMLL. I know who these guys are, but I'm speaking for the other people who don't know. I'm like, yo, this is fucking rad. Well, so for any person, go ahead.
No,
my bad. There was a lag.
I apologize to cut you off. My one thing that I take from this, right, is that you're absolutely right. I love learning about new wrestlers because for me, a perfect example would be the Alex Hammerstone.
Yeah.
I did not know much about Alex Hammerstone.
Yeah.
And now, huge fan
of
Alex Hammerstone. Went back and watched his work. I was like, oh, I'm invested in this guy because of what he did with Josh Alexander in TNA.
Yeah.
So you giving me that and telling me beforehand, like, hey, Alex Hammerstone, this is him. This is where he comes from. This is what he's accomplished. That's all I need.
Yeah, it's like I said, I love the fact that Tony Khan and them rolled out the thing with Chris Jericho. It took less than 60 seconds. It doesn't hurt at all. One thing I think with the CMLL partnership that would be beneficial is have these guys that you have on TV, have them on TV pretty often, just so wrestling fans could get a little bit more knowledgeable with them. For example, there's somebody named Rugito,
who's wrestling on
Rampage against Claudio.
Mm-hmm.
I won't lie. I'm not going to act like I know who he is. But I seen him. Mask looks cool, Again, I like finding out about new talent, right? So for me, I'm going to go watch it, right?
Yeah.
And for me, the thing is, like, I don't need you. I know I can Google it.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that right now.
Here's the thing. How much better would it be for this partnership if you have CMLL and actually have like a massive story involving them? How much better would it be if I was actually emotionally attached to that?
Putting them in the forefront is what it is. It's putting them
not just saying, hey, here's a guy, go wrestle.
Right, exactly. It's here's this guy. This is what he's accomplished. This is what he's done. Take a look. Enjoy the match.
For any person, which you'll see, like, and you'll have a lot of people who are disingenuous, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you look at it, Chris Jericho, again, I'm not a big fan of him anymore. I don't hate him. I think Chris Jericho, like right now in AEW, is just not necessarily doing something for me, right?
No, I mean, we talked. Yeah.
But he has this match with Atlantis Jr., and all it took was 60 seconds for him to say why he's having this match. And they showed the footage.
That's it. That's all I need is an answer. I real fast. I do want to answer because I see there's some stuff going on in the chat. They're talking about my hat. They're not sure if it's a bucket hat or a beanie, and I'm here to answer that it's neither. It's knitted and it's a Kenko. I think it might be like a like it was knitted. It was made. So I just wanted to answer that.
Interesting. Justin Kennington dropped a $2 super chat. He says Flair has to be the center of attention always. We were on fire just ripping through these takes. Justin, yes, I don't know if Ric Flair needs to be center of attention, but Tony Khan obviously did the sponsorship with Woo Energy and all of that stuff. So I think Tony Khan is part of the business aspect behind the scenes with them. But
yeah,
I'm just not. I don't feel like that segment needed Ric Flair.
You don't want any woo energy?
No, I'm good. I don't drink energy drinks, bro. I think I've only bought like one energy drink once in my life.
Well, I don't either, but AEW would like you to buy Woo Energy. I don't even know where they sell it at.
Yeah, I'm not buying that shit. Sorry, bud. Justin, thank you for the super chat. Empty Arrowheart, $5 super chat. AEW needs to stop waiting until the show before the pay-per-view to introduce storylines that would normally take months to build in any other company. So this is an interesting theory. And this is an interesting super chat because I talked earlier about Konosuke and Will Osprey. Now, I assumed the reason why it's last minute was because Will Osprey was obviously doing the NJPW stuff. And what did I say earlier on the stream? I said, hey, Will Osprey, this could turn up for him to be babyface, split from the group.
It's something that is going to move forward past Revolution.
Perfect. I'm okay with that.
Yes.
In this specific situation, I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is we're told that a match is canceled, and then because of injuries, and then the people that are in that original match that's canceled are in this new match that's a championship scramble, and there's no story associated with it.
Now that's where shit gets tricky because first of all, they were all injured. I'm not sure if you guys knew or were aware or not, but they were all injured, and now they're not.
No, I don't know. It's just a consistency thing, and that's my gripe, obviously. And I'll continue having that concern, but at the same time too, I think it's not always a bad thing. Empty. I don't think it's a bad thing always, but it depends how you go about it.
Absolutely.
Because I think when you do more pay-per-views, it's actually less of an issue. Right now, they don't do as many pay-per-views, which, by the way, stay tuned for the channel tomorrow because I will be having some big news surrounding AEW. So yeah, you guys should stay tuned for that.
Did you see the ghost of my door just open?
No, I did not. There's a ghost?
Yeah, dude, there was a ghost.
You're starting to scare me. Should I be like...
Yeah, bro, you should be looking because the ghost just opened my door.
No, that's crazy.
I seen it creeping. I was like looking. I was like, is my door opening?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Empty. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Yeah, I don't know. One thing we didn't talk about. I did want to talk about this. Just curious to get your opinion on this. We're still waiting for Mercedes, obviously, no problem. Yeah. But tonight we had Chris Statlander versus not Julia Hart, Sky Blue.
Sky Blue, yep.
Sky Blue wins. Her and Julia Hart holding the championship. I don't know if I'm tripping, but I feel like Sky Blue kind of looked at Julia Hart weird for a second.
Yeah, maybe of course. They're going to tell that story eventually.
I think so.
Which is cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I like Sky Blue getting that attention.
I think Sky Blue needs to be TBS champion at some point. She's great. I love Sky Blue.
Where's Cedric?
Get Cedric. Where you at, Cedric? Cedric. Yeah. No, I think the fun match. Honestly, women booking tonight was good. Would love to see more women's matches on Dynamite.
Especially with Monet coming in.
Yeah, Monet's coming in. That's going to be huge. There's a lot of stuff that they could do right now, especially with Willow.
Did they do anything with Tony Storm? I can't recall.
Tonight? No.
Just kind of find it great, kind of crazy.
Okay. Yeah, that's not too big of a deal. The thing too that you got to remember, it's like a go home show, but then they also have Rampage too. So
okay, yeah, which is true. Yep.
There's not a brand split, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I kind of forget about that.
I I was gonna say something because you guys gotta keep in mind new tongue twisters. New AEW Dynamite logo leaked. I made a video the other day. The new logo leaked. Get ready for production changes. New stage, new logos, new graphics, everything. So this revolution is like the last of this era of Dynamite type of stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah. So before we go, real fast. I just wanted everybody to know that it was not a ghost. It was pizza. That's what happened.
The delivery driver just knocked on the door.
No.
Beautiful.
No, the ghost brought me my pizza.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Nice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. AEW Dynamite post show. We're gonna end it a little bit early tonight. Gotta go to bed early, go to the gym in the morning, and fun
show, dude.
Fun. I didn't hate Dynamite. There's just a couple things I hated, but for the most part, I enjoyed it. I want to see Konosuke become international championship. I don't care about Roderick Strong. Sorry, but Zachary. I finally saw Zachary in the chat.
Yes. Yep.
Fuck, he was gonna make me wait forever. He says, I want Britt Baker back on my TV screen, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm waiting.
I think we all do.
Waiting. Ingo, do you play Fortnite? No, but I do play video games. If you guys didn't actually, you know what? Let me throw it in here because why not, right?
Yeah.
Why not do this? WWE 2K24 drops in like a week.
Yep.
If you guys aren't subscribed, you probably should click subscribe to that because I'm going to do gaming live streams on there and stuff. So that'll be pretty cool. Avery dropped a super chat. Love you guys. I'm still not Wardlow. I am not Wardlow. Dropped $1.99.
I am not Wardlow. Chat. Right. Yeah. That's really crazy. Wardlow's in this chat, just dropping super chats.
Dude, that might be his new gimmick.
Yeah. No, that's Wardlow. Can I be honest? Shout out to all you guys. That's what I wanted to say. You guys
for real.
Shit.
Shout out to all of you. Love doing live streams. I want to go hard in March.
Same.
Honestly, the only reason why I haven't been going too hard this month, me and Billy kind of have like a little bit of a different schedule type thing because I've been in the gym working out, trying to get lean as possible. You guys know I'm putting in the work, baby. We grinding. We trying to enjoy. We trying to what am I saying? I'm trying to get as lean as possible so I can enjoy the hell out of my summer.
Yep. So I work a full-time job on top of doing this. But no, I do also have plans for March to just grind this thing out. Late nights all.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
March is gonna be a fun month.
We'll figure it out.
Yes, sir.
We'll figure it out. Obviously, we're getting ready for WrestleMania season. Do I still have my Twitch? Guys, should I go live on Twitch and play some video games?
Yeah, dude. I was gonna say because I plan on getting 2K24. Should we do some streams?
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. And want to say, everybody, you guys can subscribe to my channel. It's Billy TKO.
Billy TKO. Make sure you hit him up. Ladies and gentlemen, appreciate y'all stopping by. I don't know. Go in the Discord and I'll let you guys know. Maybe I'll go live on YouTube. Maybe I'll play some games. I don't know what I'm going to play. Let's see. I need to take a break, but we're going to call it a night for the stream, for the review. If you guys aren't subscribed to the Tango with Ango channel, then click subscribe there, I guess. If you're not subscribed to Billy TKO, click subscribe. Homie wants to eat his pizza. I got to grab another water. Yep. You know what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps the show.